Hey, what's up, guys? It's my first video. Um, kind of created this channel in hopes of shedding some light on mental illness and anxiety, depression. Um, by the way, my name's Adam. Um, yeah, so I kind of just wanted to create this kind of avenue for people to talk about stuff and maybe vent or find comfort in knowing that someone else is kind of experiencing similar things or troubles or whatever the case may be, right? I mean, mental illness is very complex. The brain is very complex, and I just kind of wanted to make this in hopes that, people see this and, you know, there's some productivity from it. There's something good that comes out of this because I feel like, the stigma around mental health and all that, it's kind of hard to talk about it, especially to talk about it with people that don't experience that because, trying to explain those issues to somebody without that, without a mental illness, without anxiety, without depression, is sometimes it leaves you in a worse spot than just keeping it to yourself. And, that sucks. But hopefully, the more we talk about mental illness, the more we talk about anxiety, depression, you know, hopefully that can change because it needs to change. Mental illness it's been a problem, getting worse in my opinion, in my experience, and something needs to change about it. So I created this channel. Kind of wanted to just share my experience with you guys and gals, and kind of go from there. I don't really know the direction of this channel is going to head, and I'm kind of flexible and whatever might happen or might not happen. But yeah. So, I mean, the first video is just going to be mainly me talking about my experience. Kind of a brief summary of my experience, how I kind of got to where I am now, my life, kind of my story type deal. And, we'll go from there. So, yeah. I am almost 29 years old. Kind of, let's just say that I've had an anxiety disorder since I was a little kid. Yeah, I mean, that's all you can say, right? I had my first panic attack when I was probably around 7 or 8. Yeah, I remember it vividly. It's one of my strongest memories. So yeah, I remember as a kid. Let me just back up a little bit. I'm gonna tell you kind of how it manifested itself initially in my body, and my kind of response to that, which was purely just confusion, honestly, confusion, fear, because I had no fucking idea what was happening in my body, and let me just add that when I talk about this stuff, I'm gonna be pretty unfiltered about it, only because I feel like if I hold back certain things, then you're not getting the true me. You're not getting, everything of the story, right? And if I hold back something, then I don't want to leave anybody I don't want to leave anybody wondering, mainly. And I don't want to leave anybody thinking they're in a worse condition because I left something out because I didn't want to talk about it, right? So let's just go. So yeah, my anxiety manifested itself in my throat, surprisingly enough. I remember as a kid, when I was real young, I started having this issue. And I didn't know what the issue was. I just remember that in certain situations, I would struggle to swallow, right? I would feel like something was stuck in my throat. You know, I'm freaking out. I'm a kid. I think I'm choking on something. And I'm like pleading to my mom. Like, all these scenes are being caused because, like, I'm like dropping to my knees as a kid because I can't, or I don't feel like I can swallow, right? And when I was a kid, I didn't know what that meant. I don't think my mom necessarily knew what it meant either, because, you know, I remember going to the doctor, them sticking this fucking scope up my nose, down my throat while I'm awake, like looking in my throat, seeing what's going on. And, you know, they didn't find anything. Obviously, they said something like weird, like 1 out of 10 people, you can see their ovula or whatever the fuck it is when they open their mouth, and I could do that apparently. I don't know, whatever, cool for me. And but yeah, they told me I was fine, no obstructions or anything in my throat, nothing serious or whatever. So I mean, we kind of left the doctor, and that was that. I mean, it didn't solve the issue. It started getting worse. I mean, I would eat particular foods, and when I would go to swallow that food, it was like, the best description of it is like, it felt like my brain forgot how to swallow. It's like it just wouldn't happen. And naturally it scared the shit out of me. So yeah, got x-rays, did all this doctor stuff, found out there's nothing wrong with my throat. And I don't know at what point it became clear to my mom that, you know, there was something else behind this. Because I just remember I was struggling really bad, you know. And I didn't know this was anxiety. I was always nervous, always anxious, but I didn't have a name to it. I mean, I had nothing to call it. It was just like, what's going on with me type deal. Like, what's wrong with me? And I remember my uncle coming over. My mom called my uncle, and I didn't know why she called him. He came over, and he had like this long talk with me about being anxious and nervous, and that, you know, he struggles a lot with that, and, you know, he takes medication for it and stuff like that. So after that conversation, I kind of left that conversation knowing that, you know, maybe there's something in my mind that's going on here. And so yeah, I mean, anxiety kind of manifested itself for me in my throat. That was the first thing. I mean, that's how it was. And it left me as a very confused kid. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't understand why I was so anxious. I didn't understand why I felt so scared and nervous all the time. And it sucked. It really did. Now let's talk about my first panic attack. You know, my first panic attack I had when I was a young kid too. I remember being in my room. It was late at night. I was trying to go to sleep. Had school the next day or something like that. And I remember it was like a wave came over my body. And I can describe it perfectly now because I'm an adult and I've been through this so many times and so many times. But as a kid, I didn't know what was happening. I thought I was just dying. And I remember not waking anybody up. I kind of sat through it and went through it on my own in the bedroom because, you know, at this point I kind of had some idea that something was going on in my head. So I didn't want to, you know, bother anybody with that. And yeah, I was just flooded with fear, panic. I was pacing around the room, hyperventilating, thinking this was it, thinking I was dying. My heart was racing, beating out of my chest. And I remember, because I grew up in a very religious family. Went to church on Sundays type deal, you know. And I remember just sitting there and praying, like crying, and in the middle of a panic attack, just praying that God would take away whatever was going on with me. In those moments, you know, some time passed, about 5 minutes passed, and it went away. Feeling completely gone. And I was very confused and scared. But eventually I went to sleep. And, you know, that was my first panic attack. I'm not even a teenager yet, already having panic attacks. So I'm like, you know, fuck, obviously, this sucks. And, yeah, that's a little background how anxiety manifests itself for me. And just continue through my childhood, you know. I was always nervous, anxious. And the best way I could describe it is I could find no true comfort. I was always uncomfortable, socially uncomfortable, probably very fucking socially awkward, if I could guess. Just never felt at peace with my body. Never. It just, in a way, it just felt like my body was on a different path than my mind, or what I wanted it to be, you know. And I have friends growing up. I have lots of friends growing up. What I will say is that, you know, I never truly felt like I was one of them. I always felt like I was different. There was just always this nagging voice in my head that, you know, made me feel as if there was something different about me I didn't have what some of these other people had. I didn't have what my friends had. They could go out and enjoy themselves, and if I went out, it was borderline uncomfortable. I mean, I could have fun, but I was really pushing through some rough shit to get there, you know. And then, so yeah, my childhood, I kind of felt like an outsider most of my childhood, teenage years. I wasn't really a fit in type of dude. I mean, I did in a lot of ways. I did what all teenagers do. I tried new things and experimented with things and that, but it was clear to me that there was something different about me than my other friends. And I didn't like that. I didn't understand why I was like this. What had happened to me that made me like this? I just didn't get it. I mean, it just left me in a constant state of confusion and, you know, fear. And it sucked. And, so just not to go into too much, you know, not to drag this out or anything. So I'm just trying to give you like a brief story. Teenage years, you know, I joined the Air Force. Still in the Air Force. Been in the Air Force for about 10 years now. Crazy enough, the whole time I was in BMT, no anxiety. It was crazy because I was expecting it. I was waiting for it. Away from home, first time getting on an airplane. Or no, not the first time getting on an airplane. First time getting on an airplane by myself. And I don't really like heights. So, getting to Texas, BMT, not a lick of anxiety. I didn't really know why. I mean, now I kind of see that it's probably just. So yeah, I finished BMT, kind of thinking that maybe I outgrew it and it was gone type deal. Maybe it's something I just had to get through and it was gone. But that certainly was not the case. Got home on leave before going to my first duty station and sitting at Applebee's with some people eating, and sure enough, here it comes. I got hit with this overwhelming wave of anxiety, fear, panic. So bad that I had to get up from the table and walk outside Applebee's and kind of go through those moments outside of Applebee's because I was just, my heart was racing, tunnel vision, panic. Obviously, I didn't want people to see that happening, so I left, stepped outside, and it became clear that, you know, my anxiety and all that did not go away. It was still there. Yeah, not much changed. So yeah, I mean, this is the first video. I kind of just wanted to give you guys a, you know, timeline of how everything started for me. I hope you guys, you know, got something out of this and maybe some comfort or whatever the case may be. Like I said, I don't know the direction of this channel. I do want to keep making videos and talk about a lot more stuff. And, you know, my life now, 10 years later, I've been in the Air Force for 10 years now, almost 29 years old, and kind of give you a rundown of life events and the progression of my anxiety, panic, depression, just kind of like where I'm at now and how I'm attempting to move forward. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and thanks for watching, and I hope, you know, you'll leave some comments or some suggestions. And like I said, I'm flexible on the direction of this channel. You know, if you need to do some live streams so I can answer people in real time, then I'm more than willing to do that. But, you know, for now, unless someone throws out an idea, I'm just going to kind of talk about things in the path that I think they should be talked about and try to be as unfiltered as I can, give you the most raw information, and hopefully you guys can find comfort in that. But yeah, thanks for hanging out, thanks for watching the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and remember, just keep pushing, man. I'm not gonna say it gets better, but just gotta keep going. You know, every day you wake up, it's a blessing, and just remember that. All right, you guys have a good one.